Hi everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 map right at this stage, and we're going to be doing a 2020 election prediction between Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden. We're not going to be including any third party, Green Party, Libertarian Party, independent candidates. We'll just be going right off into the Trump-Biden situation right now. So let's go ahead, and just so everyone knows, this is not a if the election were held today situation. I'm just doing my prediction for the one in the future. It's not a prediction of what if the election were tomorrow, how it would look. It's how it's going to look, how I think things could change in the lead up to 2020. So let's go ahead with Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington. Biden's already at 78 electoral votes. New Mexico, Illinois, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and the District of Columbia, and New York, and Maine's first district are all safe for the Democrats. Moving on, Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, most of Nebraska except that second district, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Indiana. Alright, so 188, 125 in Biden's favor. Let's go ahead and give Trump a few more states that I think he could definitely pull out of the bag. States like Iowa, even though Biden, I believe there was a very recent poll that had him either tied or very close, very close. I think that will widen out, and I think Trump could win Iowa in a lean margin. The same thing with Ohio. I think it would be close, but even though the polls, there is a new poll showing Biden leading, most of the polls still show Trump leading, and even though the momentum is with Biden, I think Trump's going to be able to pull it out of the bag. Texas. So Texas, we haven't got much polls, but overall you could say it's quite likely for that to go to Mr. Trump. Moving on to some Democratic states. So right now Biden's still leading just barely, 188, 187. Let's go ahead and give them some states. Alright, Virginia, it's hard to even say this is a swing state anymore. I'm going to say that's likely to go in the Democratic favor, in a Democratic situation direction. Same thing with Maine at large. There's 2 electoral votes there. And the same thing with Colorado. That's another state that is pretty much, trending definitely in a Democratic direction. Moving on to some states Trump could be able to win. I think a lot of these are going to be really close, but the Maine's second district and Nebraska's second district, I think he's definitely able to pull both of those out of the hat. In terms of a few more Biden states, you could say Minnesota and Nevada, definitely possibilities for Biden. They're quite enticing possibilities for Biden. I think he could definitely pull out both of those states. They're both trending sort of democratically, especially Nevada, maybe not as much Minnesota. I still think Biden's able to win Minnesota. Alright, moving on to some of these southern states. So, I just have to fill in New Hampshire here. New Hampshire's an interesting one. I mean, you could make an argument for it being competitive. I think at the end of the day, it still goes over to the Biden category, in the Biden corner. Alright, moving on to some of these southern states. So, combined all together, these have 29, 30, so that would be 44, 44, and 16 would be 60. These, I believe, have 60 electoral votes, if my math is correct. Which is a big deal, right? It is it does, because 15 is 30, 30 and 30, if you cancel that out, it comes to 60. So 60 electoral votes is a lot, and I think a lot of these could, even though the polls right now show it's a really tight race, I think it's going to widen out in terms of when election day actually comes, because Trump voters, they're quite enthusiastic about their candidate. So North Carolina, we see in a tilt Republican direction. Georgia we see as a lean Republican direction. Florida's the hardest one. I would have said, if you asked me 6 months ago, yes, definitely Florida. You can put that away for Trump. It is a swing state. It'll be tight, but Trump should pull it out of the bag. But now, there's a lot of polling showing that Biden is definitely a competitor there in Florida. Still, at the end of the day, we're going to give that tilt over to the Republicans. So right now, 249, 232. Moving on to the state of Michigan, which is very important for the Democrats, we see that right now, just to put things into perspective, there's a new poll come out showing Biden is a plus 16 favorite in Michigan. If we were to go purely off that poll, Michigan would be in the safe Democratic column. But do I think Biden's going to win Michigan by 16? I don't, right? I think it's going to be a leaning Democratic state. Both campaigns are going to really try and win Michigan. I think it's going to end up going to Biden at the end of the day. Pennsylvania is another situation where we have quite a competitive race. Biden, was he born in Pennsylvania? I'm pretty sure he was born in Pennsylvania. He was a senator in Delaware, but he was born in Pennsylvania. He can definitely appeal to some of those blue collar workers talking about a lot of kitchen table issues. In the state of Wisconsin, we also see this one moving very narrowly into Biden's category. Right now, Trump is very competitive. Out of the three Midwestern states, Trump is the most competitive in the state of Wisconsin. He's only behind by about 2 or 3%, depending on the poll you look at. And with the exception of the Fox News poll, Trump's remaining competitive. At the end of the day, we think it'll just go just barely into the Biden column. And in Arizona, we actually see Biden winning this by more than he won in Wisconsin, just because the polls right now look so favorable for him and the Democratic Senate candidate in Mark Kelly. So that's my forecast right now. 289 for Mr. Biden, 249 for Mr. Trump. Zero toss-ups right now. That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you and good night.